The Champions League semifinals are here. The Champions League semifinals are here. Arsenal and PSG just played out a 1-0 victory for Paris Saint-Germain, advantage to the Parisians going back to Paris. Big victory for Luis Enrique's men. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell so you never ever miss out on a video. But straight into things. What a game. First half specifically, what a game. I think PSG started off the much better side. Much better side. I was watching those opening 25 minutes and I was sitting in my room like, hey, whoever plays these lot in the final is scary. It's scary. The way they're picking up the ball in very dangerous positions. Kvara's going one way, Dembele's going the other way. Doué's doing this, Doué's doing that. He didn't have his best game today, but Kvicha and Dembele really rose in that first half particularly. Dembele, of course, so good today in that first half. Second half kind of dwindled out of the game. I feel like the whole game state completely changed, which we'll get onto. But Ousmane Dembele in that first half, wow. His positioning, playing in that false nine that we've seen him play throughout the season. But in this game particularly, he was kind of evading that Arsenal pressure, playing behind Declan Rice, behind Lewis Skelly, so as to create avenues for those wide players to get in behind, whilst also having those fullbacks bombing on. Incredible from Paris Saint-Germain. The counter pressing was suffocating. I'm not even on the field, and I'm gasping for breath watching them. It's incredible from Luis Enrique's men in that first half. Arsenal just looked shell-shocked. They did not know what was going on. Dembele's opening goal, lovely scuffed finish into the ground, off the post and in. No keepers ever saving that. And Paris Saint-Germain lead. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'll be very honest, Arsenal need to wake up. Because this could be 2, 3, 4 if they don't wake up. And luckily for them, they did. In that opening 20 minutes, hey, Jurrien Timber, my brother, you're going to sleep like a baby tonight. Because Kvicha Kvaratskhelia was running it up on him. Running it up. I think he committed like 6 fouls. I don't even think he got a yellow card today. I don't know how that even occurred. Had a very dubious penalty claim from Kvicha. Should have been a penalty, shouldn't have been a penalty. I won't really complain either way. He really did obstruct Kvicha going towards the goal. And ultimately, if he didn't put his arm there, I think Kvicha makes it 2-0 to PSG. But man, Kvicha was having fun out there. Really having fun. Vitinha is always controlling the tempo in the first few minutes. Fabian Ruiz picking up positions everywhere. Ousmane Dembele being that extra man that you need in spaces of pressure. And because you have players like Kvicha, Doué, Dembele, Vitinha, João Neves who can dribble out of spaces, Arsenal's press was pretty much useless. Even if you press them 1v1, they'll just dribble past you, get out of space, and play the ball out wide to the other side where they always held an outnumbering. You had Doué on the right side, Hakimi on the right side, waiting. They're fiending for the ball. They're like, come on, bring it to our side, let's run it up on these guys. They were all over Arsenal in those opening 25, 20 minutes. But I'll give credit to Arsenal. They started to grow into the game. I think ultimately, once PSG scored that first goal, Arsenal's pressure started to increase. I think Arsenal really started to grow into the game mentally, other than just tactically. I think the players in the first few minutes were a bit cagey, nervous. And after that, you started to see the real players. Bukayo Saka today, hey. Look, these big games, I always say it. It's about your quality players. Individual players will win you games at the highest level. And he may not have scored tonight. He may not have assisted tonight. Arsenal scored 0 goals. But the performance Bukayo Saka put in today, and you could see towards the end of the game, he was leggy. He looked like a player who was very much not fully fit. But the performance he put in today, wow. Wow, what a performance today. Dragging his team as much as he really could. Because Jurrien Timber was fighting for his life on that right side. But Bukayo Saka's impact in the game started to grow. And from that moment, you saw Kvicha having to drop back a little bit, having to support Nuno Mendes, who in this game, he didn't have it all his own way. We saw it against Mohamed Salah. Seat belts on Mohamed Salah. That was not the case with Bukayo Saka. But on PSG's fullbacks, we talked about those opening 20 minutes. As Arsenal started to go back into the game, you saw PSG start to throw a bit of a counter punch. And I feel like one thing I find so interesting about this PSG team, their midfielders and their fullbacks allowed them to cheat so much. We talked about that incredible attack, Kivicha, Dembele, Doué, Barcola, whoever you want to play. But their midfielders, in Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, because these guys are so comfortable on the ball, wherever it is, whatever sort of space, pressure, it doesn't matter. These guys will get out of that pressure and deliver the right pass. But you look at their fullbacks. Because their fullbacks are basically wingers, Nuno Mendes on the left, Hakimi on the right, these guys are basically playing. There were moments in the game where Arsenal were putting a lot of pressure on PSG. So what you will see is Dembele tucking in, just as we saw throughout the game and throughout the whole season in that false 9 position. But then you see Kvaratskhelia, on top of swapping wings with Doué, kind of tucking inside. Nuno Mendes going high and wide. Hakimi going high and wide. Doué coming into the center. And then creating that overload with very, very highly technical players in Dembele, Doué, Kvara, who can play out of pressure, who can receive the ball back to goal and jink past one or two. Vitinha and Fabian drop, supporting the center backs, so there's not an outnumbering in the defense because Hakimi and Nuno Mendes are gone. Like, it's such a cheat code because you're not losing any quality in the defense. You're increasing your ball retention from the defense to the attack, and you're putting your best players in the most dangerous positions on the field in those half spaces. Hey, PSG, man, these guys are a serious team. If you didn't think that was the case, please, you need to wake up and smell the roses. But Arsenal, of course, they grew back into the game. They had a very good moment in the game from about the 25th, 30th minute till halftime, even at the start of the second half. And I think ultimately big chances just did not go their way. Martinelli, you have to score that chance. Leandro Trossard, you have to score that chance. And I know people will credit Donnarumma, but if that is Vinicius Jr., Kylian Mbappe, I know Vinicius has been awful this year, so maybe he's not the best example to use. But if it's Mbappe, if I'm looking at somebody like even Kai Havertz, I saw him in the stands today, and I'm not the biggest fan of Kai Havertz. Generally, I think he's an all right player. He's not an incredible player, but he's all right. But he's better than Leandro Trossard, especially as a number 9. And I think that aerial presence that you lose is big because Arsenal were winning a lot of the 50-50 aerial duels. They were winning a lot of them. And I think if you have somebody who's a bit more experienced in that position, they could have taken advantage. Trossard today, he did his best. Really and truly, he did his best. You know, you could give him a participation award, but this guy is just not of the level. He's not the level to be playing in these sort of games from the start. Martinelli, likewise, he did a little shimmy. He did pretty well. Again, he did his job. I'm not bashing him. He didn't have a terrible game. I think he's improved since the middle of the season. Martinelli's improved, but again, this guy he's just not of the quality, in my opinion, to really make a stake in these sort of games. And you continue to look at the rest of the Arsenal team. Saliba was fantastic tonight. Kivior was fantastic. We talked about Bukayo Saka really, really trying his best to put the team on his back because a lot of his teammates were just not creating anything in the attacking areas. Marino as well scored that offside goal that, hey, Arsenal from set pieces again, ole, ole. That's what these guys know how to do. Once again, they're showing me Nikola Jover on my TV screen. I don't care about this guy. I did not watch football to be seeing set-piece coaches. Please get this guy off my screen. But of course, ultimately, Arsenal didn't end up scoring the goal. PSG held on, and it was a very calculated performance after the halftime from PSG. They knew ultimately, let's just take this 1-0 lead and go back to Parc des Princes. They could have scored 2. They could have even scored 3. Gonzalo Ramos hitting the crossbar. Barcola just putting it past wide. I know it was offside, but they could have left with 2 or 3. And I think Arsenal will probably be pretty content with only a 1-0 deficit. Of course, it's not favorable. It's not what you would have wanted. But going back to Paris, it's not the end of the world. Players tonight that I really wanted to highlight for Arsenal, Declan Rice, my brother. Round of applause for Declan Rice, man. This is a midfielder. A midfielder who can win the ball. We of course, Thomas Partey was suspended tonight. Everybody wondered who was going to play in that number 6 position. Ended up being Declan Rice. Marino came back into the midfield. Trossard played up top. And Declan Rice, wow, what a performance. Really made an impact on the game. Did his best to try and influence the game, whether it's tackling, winning the ball back, interceptions, covering for his teammates, playing the ball forward, creating chances, created a chance for Martinelli. Absolutely everywhere tonight. Incredible performance following up of the back-to-back man of the matches against Real Madrid. I think Declan Rice's stock has grown massively in this UCL knockouts. But one player whose stock, we need to talk about him. We need to talk about this guy. And I don't like to rain on anyone's parade. I don't like to bash on any player because for me, look, right, at this level, these guys are all incredible. But guys, we need to talk about this guy. We need to talk about Martin Odegaard. I'm sorry, right? And I'm gonna make a comparison here. Most of you might not even understand this comparison if you don't watch basketball. But last night, I witnessed my beloved Houston Rockets fall to Golden State once again. Ultimately means we're probably out of the playoffs. And one man in particular that I was watching that game and I looked at and I said, can you please rise? Can you please show the world that you are the so-called franchise player? Can you please show us why you get paid big money? Jalen Green. You guys who don't watch basketball, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But this is just the analogy I'm using. This guy has been hyped up as our best player. If not our best, one of the best. And coming into the playoffs, we all believed he needs to have a big playoffs if we're going to get anywhere in this playoff season. And he has hidden. As I said before, I don't mind you having a bad game. But hiding, I will not stand for. And Martin Odegaard, he hides. He hides. This guy, in this game in particular, the amount of times he receives the ball and he's doing these little feints, he's doing these roly-polies, he's turning around, he's doing 360 and turn yourself all around. You get the roly-poly and dude, that's what it is. That's what he's doing. This guy is not creating chances. He's not forcing the narrative. He's not pushing the initiative. Bukayo Saka is giving him the ball, thinking, my captain, please, what can you do for me? But Martin Odegaard is looking back at Saka saying, what can you do for me? What do you think this is? Can you please perform? UCL semi-final, biggest game of your season. These are where the big players play. Bukayo Saka tonight, we talked about him. I'm not expecting you to drop 3 assists. I'm not expecting you to score a hat trick. I'm not expecting you to do any of that. But please perform. Please rise. Please show us that you're trying to do something out there. Martin Odegaard is receiving the ball and he's turning around. Martin Odegaard is receiving the ball and he's playing these little flicks, these dink balls over the top with no power, no venom, no assertiveness in them. I don't know what he's trying, is he trying to create a highlight reel? My brother, who cares how you win the game? Who cares what type of goal you score? We need to score. We are losing the game. We are going back to Paris with a 1-0 deficit. Can you please do something to try and change the narrative? Declan Rice is out there making tackles. Mikel Merino is getting into the box. Martinelli, we talked about him. He does not have the quality at this level, but he's trying. He's running at his fullback. He's getting into space. He's taking shots. Trossard as well. He's doing flicks. He's creating chances. He's getting into people's faces. Martin Odegaard is playing the game like he doesn't want to get his shirt dirty. Martin Odegaard is playing the game like he doesn't want to get his shirt dirty. Simple as that. And for me tonight, he was a bystander. He was a passenger in that Arsenal team. Every single player for me did their job. Timber tried his best against Kvara. Lewis Skelly kept Due quiet. Saliba and Kivior did incredibly well. Raya made saves when he needed to. The midfield, Rice, Merino did their job to a plumb. Martinelli, Trossard, they don't have the quality, but they fought. They did their job as best as they could. Bukayo Saka, as always. But Martin Odegaard, this guy. And a lot of people have been telling me, this guy is not the level. He's not the level. He's not good enough. He's overrated. And I've always said, there's a player there. You guys just need to give him time. But I look at performances like today, and this is not the first time. This is not the first time I've watched Martin Odegaard play like this in a big game. He's hiding. He's hiding. And I don't mind you having a bad game. I don't mind you taking a few shots and missing them all. I don't mind you trying a few dribbles and it's not coming off. But what I won't stand for is a player who's not coming into the game, who's not turning up, and who's not showing for his fans. Especially when you're wearing the captain's armband. That's what I won't stand for. But hey, why am I so animated? I don't even support Arsenal. Frankly, I really could care less what Martin Odegaard does. But it's a shame because he's so good. And you feel like a player that good should be having an impact on games this big. But he doesn't. He rarely doesn't. But of course, what did you guys think about the game? Rant over about Martin Odegaard. What did you guys think about Arsenal? What did you think about Martin Odegaard actually? What did you think about Declan Rice, who for me was probably man of the match? Who did you think was good for PSG? Did you think PSG played the game well? What do you think is going to happen back in Paris? If I'm being honest, I don't see Arsenal turning a 1-goal deficit back. I don't see it happening. I always felt like if Arsenal were going to go to the final, they needed to win the first leg, and they've actually lost. If they had drawn, maybe. But losing, I just don't see it. PSG fans tonight, by the way, incredible away end. Incredible away end. Making noise the entire game. These guys are barely even watching the game. They're just there. They're having a concert of their own in the corner. Incredible. But of course, as I said, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. What did you guys make of the game? Barcelona Inter Milan tomorrow. You guys will see me for that one. And you'll see me either with a smile on my face or, hey, damn it, I might not even make a video because I'll crash out. But, of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.